Okay, let's start now. We will understand about functions. Not only about functions, but also we get the information that revolves around the functions to understand it quickly and comfortably. Like why we are studying about functions, what are its significances, how it can improve our programming skills, and after that we will discuss about its applications and obviously how it can be implemented in programming, in C programming. Okay, so let's begin with a case. Suppose we need to shift a lightweight chair from one room to another room. It's not a big task for anyone actually. He or she can do it by their own effort simply because it's not a big problem to do so. We can easily carry that chair and can place it to another room. But consider if the task is little bit big, like I need to shift a heavyweight chair from one room to another room, then obviously it's trouble for a person to do it by their own. What will be the solution then? The solution needs few more people to work together and it will become so easy to place it to another room. Is it so? Yes, it is. What I did actually, I simply distribute the load, and no doubt distribution of load makes things easier to happen. Therefore, what actually I want to say through it that if the problem is small, it is manageable by a person alone. But as the problem is getting complex, or you can assume it as a big problem, complex problem, then we need to hire resources to complete that task. Got it? In the same way, if the program is small in size, the compiler is much capable to execute the instructions efficiently. But as the program, as the size of program gets increasing, then it would be better to divide it just like I divide the load of that heavyweight chair by collecting the resources. Now listen carefully. As the division of program is genuine to do specifically for lengthy programs, it is also necessary for the better utilization of memory during the execution of program, and that I will discuss it later. When the program is divided into several parts, each part is considered as module. Each part is termed as module. It is called module. Therefore we can say that number of modules depends on how complex the problem is it? These modules have their own specific task which is encapsulated using functions. Okay, in another way, you can say that the function that consists the set of instructions that performs a specific task, or you can also say uh, it is deriving an output which can be the input for another function to perform further executions to generate the required output, to generate the final output. Before I discuss more about functions, have a look. It's calculator. We all aware about it, what it does. This calculator is having numeric values 0 to 9 and do some operations like addition, division, multiplication and subtraction which is performed on these numeric values. Now, it's a multitasking device and what I am going to elaborate is it's visible that it's a single machine that is capable to perform several calculations, and when I see its operations logically, then we can create modules by simply dividing its functionalities. I consider the operation addition as task 1, division as task 2, multiplication as task 3, and same for subtraction as task 4. Now I can say I created 4 modules with their specific output or with their specific working. Therefore, I have 4 functions which will encapsulate the instructions of these tasks individually. Okay? Now suppose if I'm going to if I'm going to add some numeric values and I'm getting the wrong addition value, we simply have to check only that function which is having instruction to calculate addition rather than the overall instructions, right? This is the another benefit of using the concept of functions in programming. You must be getting what I mean to say. Okay, now come to function. Let me write its prototype first. Now look at its prototype. The first line written is return type function name parameter list. Parameter list is written in parentheses. This line consists some terms like return type, function name, and parameter list. As the compiler reads this statement, it comes to know a function has been declared with a proper function name. It is named by the programmer, but remember one thing, that it should not match with the name of those functions which are already defined. Means the function name cannot be named like printf, free, scanf, puts, because they are already defined. Now once we decided the function name, it must be followed by return type. This terminology I will discuss later, just after a couple of minutes. And now come to parameter list. It is a set of variables declared which receives the values or set of values at the moment the compiler reads this statement. Okay? We can say that if the function is having parameter list, it simply means that it will accept set of values which is passed by calling function. And finally, as the function consists of set of instructions, it will be written in the body of the function which is enclosed by curly braces. Done? These things will be much more clear to you. Just look at this figure first. Okay, in this figure, two blocks are created, named F1 and F2. Both are representing functions. So let us assume that we have two functions in our program named F1 and F2, where F2 will calculate the sum of two integers. Few things you must remember about functions: that generally any function executes only when it is called by another function. And here, calling means simply write its name at calling statement. That's it. Now, F1 will call the function F2. Therefore, we can say that F1 is considered as calling function and F2 is termed as called function because it is being called by the function F1. There are two things about calling a function: that when the calling function calls called function, it can either pass the argument or it cannot pass the argument. If the argument is not passed, it means no values will be transferred from calling function to the called function. Now, the values which are required, that should be arranged by the function F2. Like as I told earlier, F2 function will calculate the sum of two numbers. And if these two numbers can be passed by calling function, that means the argument is present. Okay? Now, F2 will obtain both values and easily it can calculate their sum. Got it? F2 function F2 function is having the sum value. There are two possibilities: either it will reserve the value within it or it will return the sum value to the calling function. If it returns the value, then F2 is considered as return type function and the type of function will be of the same type of the value it returns. Okay? Means the data type of variable will ensure the type of function's declaration. Got it? On the other hand, if it do not return any value, it will be treated as non-return type function. And then we need to declare function using void, where void is a keyword. In this figure, now Uh, Now you must understood about calling function, called function, what does argument means, what is return type and non-return type function. Okay. Now one last thing, but not the least, that if a function is a return type function, then it will return the variable using return keyword. So obviously, if a function is declared as void, then the return keyword is not applicable in such case. Obviously. Now just read about these terms. So first one is return type. A function may return a value. The return type is the data type of the value the function returns. Some functions perform the desired operations without returning a value. In this case, the return type is the keyword void. Got it. Next is function name. This is the actual name of the function. The function name and the parameter list together constitute the function signature. And one thing you must remember that the name should not match with the system defined functions which are already defined in the system. Now parameters. A parameter is like a placeholder. When a function is invoked, you pass a value to the parameter. This value is referred to as actual parameter or argument. The parameter list refers to the type, order, and number of the parameters of a function. Parameters are optional, that is, a function may contain no parameters. And finally, function body. The function body contains a collection of statements that define what the function does. Okay, that's it for now. I will discuss much more about functions in the next session. See you there. Thank you.